Okay, so remember this is the reference arm, we'll say, of the interferometer, and this is the measurement arm, or the measurement path, we can say. So what I'm going to do is always leave this path length fixed and constant, and just make modifications to the light that's traveling along this part of the interferometer. So as you can see, if I put a bit of paper in behind, or after the beam splitter, the intensity along each path is roughly constant. If light arrives in phase, so to a maximum of a wave of light that's traveled along this part of the interferometer and along this measurement part of the interferometer, if they arrive in coincidence on the screen, we form a bright fringe. If a minimum and a maximum arrive together at the screen, their intensities subtract and we form a dark fringe. So if I now, for part of the beam, it's easier with the light off here. So now over half of the width of the beam, I only have light from the reference from the reference arm of the interferometer arriving. In the rest of the beam, I have light from both arms of the interferometer arriving, which allows them to interfere to form the fringes. And as you can see, roughly you can see it, that here I have roughly half the intensity that I have in the bright fringes here, and in the dark fringes I have roughly zero intensity. The paths. So another thing you can do, obviously this is very, very sensitive to the tilt of this mirror. So that's what this allows us to do in interferometer, is to measure the differences in path length. So here, because I can tilt the mirror in this direction by using this screw, what I'm doing is over the height of the mirror I'm adjusting the relative path length for light traveling through the reference trip. The measurement trip and the reference trip, which allows us to form a vertical distribution of the interference pattern. So if I now try and align the mirrors to make them both parallel, I can arrive in a situation where over the full area of the beam, I'm very careful, it's very, very sensitive, because this is sensitive to movements that are of the order . So if I put my hand underneath, my hand is quite warm, and you see the effect it has on the diffraction pattern. You should be able to see it's rippling. And this is because my hand is heating the air